Having completed the game, you now have an increased understanding and awareness of some of the challenges that refugee youth and their families might have experienced in their journey towards resettling in Canada. You also have a deeper understanding of the fact that challenges with school adaptation are often influenced by pre-migration experiences as well as post-migration experiences. And so this image that you're currently looking at helps you to kind of see how these three sort of contexts weave together to impact a young person's experience in the school context. Some of the major challenges that are identified in the game and also in literature include experiences such as loss and grief that would permeate through all three contexts. For those of you in particular who lost family members as you played the game, you would have a deep understanding of how grief then can permeate and impact the ability to actually integrate in a school setting, learn a new language, adapt to a new classroom and make new friends if you're still struggling with a lot of personal losses that you've encountered. Being uprooted from all that you know contributes to a deep sense of isolation and loneliness that is often reflected in some of the research I've done with the young people who've come from such experiences as you've encountered in your game. Changes in roles and family structures resulting in unemployment or underemployment can have a huge impact on families by causing stress and conflict. Many times young people would be in school but often have to support their families' changing financial circumstances by working. Acculturation, and that is the changes that happen to you when you encounter a new culture through the language, through change of food, change of climate, learning new values, new customs, can be quite stressful as people adapt. And so those will also be factors that young people would be adapting to in the school context. Discrimination, experience of discrimination is often a challenging one because if you look at the pre-migration context where young people may have already been encountered racial or other forms of discrimination, as well as associated trauma and violence, that can continue in the post-settlement context, and particularly it can happen in the school context where young people experience bullying or other forms of discrimination, and that in itself can be re-traumatizing or a trigger for prior traumatic experiences. So as we turn to interventions, it becomes particularly important to take a systematic approach in working with refugee children and their families. It has to be both cohesive and systematic. And that this is true for all social systems refugees encounter, whether it's government agencies, schools, and school boards. That one must understand the variety of contexts in which they work, they live, and function in order to understand what is best for their adaptation in the school context. But I do believe that schools serve perhaps one of the most important contexts for young people's adaptation after some of the experiences that they would have encountered in their lives. One of the articles that I gave in your references there, it's from Strikalova and Hoot. It's a 2008 guidelines for teachers of refugee children. And what they indicate is that teachers, and I would add teachers and mentors, are in a position to play a major role in helping refugee children carve a brighter future by really supporting their settlement in school and community settings. Given the chaos and disruption and lack of safety experienced by any war-affected children, then what we need to do is strive to be safe individuals, but also individuals who work to create therapeutic environments for young people in order to begin to feel safe and to settle in their new environment. And this is what we'll be focusing on as we begin to look at some of the recommendations for your specific role as a mentor with refugee youth.